Question. Do you have a plan to prevent the opposition from stealing the next election?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to be really honest with you. I need to get there, right, to be in a position. I'm a private citizen. I'm a businessman right now. I've stepped aside from my businesses. Now I'm a candidate. But I'm a private citizen. I have no government authority or control right now. Here's what I believe we need to get to as a destination. All right, and this is one where I said I want to reunite the country. I will stick true to this promise. I will offer a compromise to anybody in the country on this. Okay, a happy way forward, which is to say in this country we have single-day voting on election day as a national holiday with paper ballots and government-issued ID to match the voter file. That's how elections must be run in this country. That is a hard requirement for faith in our elections. But in return, here's the promise I will make, and I'll ask all of you to keep this with me because I care about reuniting this country. We will get there. And when we get there, here's my pledge to the other side, and I intend to keep the pledge, which is that once we have those basics, which should not be controversial, then, and only then, but then we are done complaining about election integrity and stolen elections. You give me single-day voting on election day with paper ballots and government-issued voter ID matching the voter file, I will keep my end of the bargain, where I will not complain about stolen elections or election integrity. That should be something that moves this nation forward. So on a given day, you can tune into MSNBC or wherever and hear about the threats to our democracy from even asking that question. That you as an election denier are posing a threat to our democracy. I always wonder whose democracy they really mean. Our democracy.
Good point.
But if this is really such a vital issue, we have a simple agreement hiding in plain sight of something we can effectuate, a national holiday where everybody votes with a paper ballot and a government-issued ID. That should be something that, if this is really that grave of a risk to our republic, and I do think election integrity is important, and faith in elections is important, this is a solvable problem. So that's where I'll lead us. In order to get us there, I need to be your next president, which poses a bit of a dilemma, because we have an election that's required to put me in that office as your next president, which is why I go back to what I said earlier. This cannot be a 50.1 election. Landslide. This has to be a landslide. This is not rhetoric, guys. If this is an election where MSNBC and CNN are slowly trotting out the winner the Monday after the Tuesday when we vote.
I remember that.
I don't know if we have it in us as a country to withstand the cracking of the thin ice that takes place on the back of that. I am genuinely worried about that. And I just want to use this as an opportunity to speak candidly about why I'm in this race. I got asked this morning, right? I had some very positive things to say the day before yesterday about Donald Trump on the debate stage. I stand by them. I can't believe people found it eye-opening when I said he was the greatest president we've had in the 21st century, and I won't apologize for it. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So people are like, did he just say that? Yes. George Bush, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, it's not even close, right? And so I don't know that was a head-spinning thing to say, but then you get the question, well, then why are you in this race? I am in this race because I think I am the single person who is going to be able to deliver that landslide election that we need in order to save this country. That is what's on the line. Republican or Democrat, this cannot be a 50.1 election. We are not that far from a breaking point as a country, right? Sometimes that's only easy to see in retrospect. You got to see it in advance to prevent it from happening. This is where we are right now. So I'm not running strictly in the traditional sense as a Republican candidate. I could care less. I'm running as a pro-American candidate. That's what matters. Do you agree with the basic rules of the road? Do you agree on the pursuit of excellence, free speech, open debate, self-governance over aristocracy? Do we agree on the basic rules of the road? I think 80% of this country does, actually. And I think half the 20 are people younger than me who never learned those ideals in the first place. We'll teach them and bring that 10% along too. Yeah, maybe we disagree on whether corporate tax rates should be high or low in a given year. Those are details. But on the basic rules of the road, if you don't get it through the media or social media, you get it by being in rooms like this with, and I know most of you in this room probably agree with those ideals, but I challenge you. I believe that most of your neighbors and your classmates and your colleagues share these ideals in common too. I truly believe that. I think you do too, but you're not quite sure about it because we don't feel free to talk about it in the open. Right, so that's how we call the bluff on the manufacturer division across the country, is each of us has to start talking openly again. That is why this campaign has been so unfiltered. Right, speaking the truth about the topics you're not supposed to talk about in public, because that's exactly how we unite this country. And as somebody who's 38 years old with fresh legs, who's, I hope, God willing, my best days are still ahead of me. I don't know that. I don't take any day for granted.
True.
Every day we wake up is a blessing. I don't take for granted the fact that I got to wake up in Wisconsin, that I'm with you guys here today. But I hope and pray that my best days may still yet be ahead of me. And I think it takes somebody in that position to see a nation whose best days can still as yet be ahead of itself. And I think that is what it's going to take to deliver a landslide, to not just win this election, but then to go back and fix the broken rails of our electoral system, as I will do in my first year in office. Thank you. I appreciate that, President. Thank you. Take a couple more.